Hi guys, welcome back to MR.ScaryCraft. Today's stories are all sent in by you guys. Let's go. Story 1. This one's from a girl named Emily, who worked as an office aide during a free period her junior year, which meant she had access to something most students never saw. Part of my job was managing the visitor sign-in sheet at the front desk, the clipboard everyone has to sign before walking further into the building, name, time in, who they're visiting. During a lockdown, that clipboard doesn't move, obviously, because nobody's signing in during an active lockdown. I was actually at the front desk with the office secretary when our lockdown started that day, so we spent the whole thing crouched behind the counter, out of sight of the windows, just the two of us. About 20 minutes in, completely silent, doors locked, we both heard the clipboard on the desk above us slide. Just a couple inches, the scrape of plastic on laminate. Neither of us had touched it. The secretary, who'd worked there for almost 15 years, went very still and just looked at me, finger to her lips, and we stayed down there without moving for what felt like forever. When the all clear finally came and we stood back up, the sign-in sheet had a new entry on it. Handwritten, in pen, name filled in, time filled in, a name neither of us recognized, no visitor badge issued because obviously nobody had actually checked in through us. The time written next to the name was 20 minutes into the lockdown, the exact window we'd both been crouched behind that counter the entire time, watching the clipboard the whole way through except for that one slide we couldn't explain. The secretary took a photo of it on her office phone before anyone could ask questions, and she showed it to me years later when I ran into her at the grocery store, still saved in her camera roll, said she never deleted it, never told the school it happened, just kept it because she said some things need proof even if nobody else ever sees it. The handwriting didn't match any staff member. The name wasn't in any student or family record anyone ever found. There's one more piece to this that the secretary only told me years later, something she'd apparently sat on the whole time out of pure discomfort. She said she actually recognized the handwriting style, not the name, but the way certain letters were formed, a very specific looping cursive on the capital letters that she said reminded her instantly of an older sign-in sheet from years before she'd even started working there, one she'd found by accident in a filing cabinet during a records cleanup. That old sheet had belonged to a visitor log from a wing of the building that had been closed off and repurposed long before either of us attended, and she said she'd never been able to shake the feeling that whoever wrote that new entry had signed in using a version of that old form in their head, an old procedure from a version of the school that technically didn't exist anymore. Story 2. This one comes from a guy named Jake, who noticed something during a lockdown that he didn't actually process until he was flipping through his yearbook almost a full year later. During the lockdown, we were sitting against the wall in the dark like everyone does, and at some point I looked toward the little rectangular window in our classroom door, the kind every classroom door has, just to see if I could spot anything moving in the hallway. For a second, just a second, I saw a face in that window looking back in at us. Not scary looking exactly, just a normal face, an older man, glasses, the kind of face you'd expect on a teacher or maybe a janitor. I didn't think much of it beyond just noting it, figured it was staff doing a safety check, and I never mentioned it to anyone afterward. It honestly slipped my mind completely by the next day. Almost a full year later, flipping through our school yearbook looking at old staff photos for a class project, I landed on the faculty and staff section near the back, the part with all the small headshots of janitorial staff, cafeteria workers, people who don't usually get much attention in a yearbook. And there was the face. Exact same face I'd seen in that door window, glasses and all, down to a small detail like a mole near his jaw that I somehow still remembered clearly after all that time. The caption under the photo had his name and one line, "In memory of," followed by 2 dates. He'd worked at the school as a maintenance staff member for over 20 years, and he'd passed away, according to those dates, almost 3 years before the lockdown ever happened, well before I'd even started attending that school as a freshman. I showed the photo to my mom, who mentioned it to a neighbor who'd graduated way earlier and actually remembered the man from when she'd attended, said he used to do exactly what I described, checking classroom door windows during drills, said it was basically his signature thing back when he was alive and working there. What actually stuck with me most, more than the face itself, was something small I only noticed after staring at that yearbook photo for a long time. In the little headshot, he's wearing a name tag clipped to his shirt, standard maintenance staff uniform, and the tag has a small hand-drawn symbol next to his printed name, almost like a personal signature mark, something he'd apparently added himself rather than something issued by the school. I mentioned that detail to the neighbor my mom had talked to, fully expecting her to have no idea what I was talking about, and instead she went quiet for a second and said she remembered that symbol clearly, said he used to draw it on the corner of the hall pass slips he'd sign off on for kids running errands between classes. Some private little habit of his that apparently outlasted him by a lot more years than anyone should have expected. Story 3. This one's from a girl named Alyssa, and it's less about something she saw and more about something that simply refused to make sense afterward, no matter how many people tried to explain it away. Every classroom in our school had one of those standard wall clocks, the kind with a red second hand, synced automatically to the same district-wide system, so every clock in the building matched exactly, down to the second, something the IT department was actually kind of proud of when they installed it a couple years before this happened. During a lockdown, our classroom clock did something none of the others apparently did. It stopped completely, dead on the exact minute the lockdown was called, and didn't move again for the entire 35 minutes we were locked down, while every other clock in the building, according to kids in other classrooms comparing notes afterward, kept running completely normally the whole time. When the all-clear came, our clock started moving again on its own. No one touched it, nobody reset it. It just picked back up exactly where it should have been if it had never stopped at all, perfectly in sync with the district system like nothing had happened. Our teacher reported it to maintenance out of simple curiosity more than anything, expecting some boring technical explanation about a synced system dropout. The maintenance guy who came to check it a few days later told her something that apparently unsettled him more than he wanted to admit. He said that model of clock physically can't stop like that without losing sync permanently. The internal mechanism either keeps running on battery backup or it doesn't. There's no in-between state where it freezes for exactly the length of an event and then resumes in perfect time on its own. He checked the internal battery, checked the sync chip, found absolutely nothing wrong with it. No malfunction on record, no explanation he was willing to write down officially. Our teacher still has that clock in her room. She told me years later she still glances at it sometimes during drills, half expecting it to stop again, and part of her almost wants it to, just so she'd finally have real proof that what happened wasn't some group hallucination brought on by nerves. The maintenance guy actually came back a second time about 2 weeks later, apparently unable to fully let it go himself, and asked if he could pull the clock down and take it back to his shop for a closer look at the internal mechanism, more out of personal curiosity at that point than any real work order. He kept it for almost a month, longer than any normal repair should ever take, and when he finally brought it back, he installed it himself instead of sending an assistant like usual, and told our teacher, quietly, just between the two of them, that he'd tested it every possible way he knew how and it worked perfectly, completely normal, no fault found anywhere in the mechanism. He also told her, almost as an afterthought on his way out the door, that he'd left it running in his own garage that whole month, checked on it constantly, and it had never once behaved strangely again, not so much as a second of drift, like whatever had made it stop only ever happened in that one classroom, on that one day, and nowhere else since. Story 4. This one comes from a guy named Dominic, and this is the story that convinced his whole grade something genuinely strange happened that day, because it showed up in actual school records, not just memory. During lockdowns, teachers are required to take silent attendance, checking off names on a printed roster without calling them out loud, just confirming who's physically present in the room. Our teacher did this about 10 minutes into the lockdown like she always did, checked every name, confirmed all 26 of us were accounted for and present, no one missing, completely normal. About 5 minutes after she finished, she did something unusual, something she later said she genuinely couldn't explain her own reason for doing. She recounted everyone a second time, unprompted, no reason given, just a gut feeling apparently. And this time, she counted 27. Same names checked off on the roster, no new name added, but one extra person sitting against that back wall with the rest of us when she did a visual head count separate from the roster. She didn't say anything to us in the moment, just kept glancing around the room, doing a slow, careful visual sweep 3 separate times according to a couple of kids who noticed her doing it and got nervous watching her face the whole time. Each time she counted visually, 27. Each time she checked the actual attendance roster against raised hands, 26, matching every name on the list exactly. When the lockdown ended, she filed the attendance as normal, 26 students, nothing flagged, because what else could she really put on an official form? She told a small group of us afterward, swore us to keep it between ourselves at the time, though obviously that didn't last forever once we all graduated and started talking more openly. She said in 22 years of teaching, she has never once miscounted a room full of students. Said counting is honestly the easiest part of the job, and that whatever she saw sitting against that wall with us that day, it wasn't a mistake on her part, and it never appeared on any list because it was never actually enrolled anywhere to begin with. One more thing she mentioned, only once, and never again after that, was where exactly that extra presence seemed to be sitting each time she did her visual count. She said it wasn't randomly placed among us, wasn't shifting around the room the way you'd expect a mistake in counting to shift depending on where your eyes landed. It was in the same spot every single time she recounted, at the very end of our row, right where a desk used to be years earlier before the room got reconfigured, a spot that technically wasn't even part of our seating arrangement anymore. She only found that detail out afterward, when she asked the school's facilities office for an old room layout diagram out of pure nagging curiosity, and matched it against exactly where her eyes kept landing that day. Story 5. This one's from a girl named Priya, who found out about this secondhand from her older brother, who worked as a student aide in the school's front security office during his senior year. Part of his job was monitoring the hallway camera feeds during lockdowns from a small bank of screens in a back office near the main entrance, mostly to help staff track where the actual security threat was moving through the building in real time. During this particular lockdown, he was watching 6 different hallway feeds at once with an actual security officer sitting next to him, both of them focused on the screens, looking for any sign of movement matching the reported threat. About 15 minutes in, one of the 6 camera feeds, covering a hallway on the 2nd floor near the science wing, froze completely, image locked on a single frame instead of continuing to stream live like the other 5. Not glitching, not pixelated, just a clean, frozen still image, clear as anything, showing that hallway completely empty except for one detail neither of them could account for. A figure standing near the far end of the hallway, facing directly toward the camera, close enough in the frame that you could make out it was an adult, though the resolution wasn't good enough to see a face clearly. The security officer immediately radioed another staff member physically stationed near that same hallway to check it in person. That staff member confirmed the hallway was completely empty, nobody there at all, matching the other 5 still active feeds from adjacent hallways that showed normal empty corridors the entire time. The frozen feed stayed frozen for almost 4 full minutes on that exact same image before it suddenly resumed streaming live again on its own, hallway shown empty, matching what the staff member had already confirmed in person. The security officer saved a screenshot of that frozen frame before it started moving again, forwarded it to the district's IT security team for review, standard procedure for any unexplained camera malfunction during an active incident. My brother said the official response he eventually saw, weeks later, just said the camera experienced a documented signal interruption consistent with a known firmware issue in that particular unit. Case closed, no further explanation offered. He said the figure in that photo never got mentioned once in the official write-up, like whoever wrote the report either never noticed it or made a very deliberate choice not to. My brother actually kept his own copy of that screenshot too, forwarded to his personal email before the office computer got wiped for a routine software update a few weeks later, something he did purely on instinct without really planning to do anything with it. About a year after he graduated, going through old files, he decided to zoom in on that saved image using better software than the office computer had access to at the time, enhanced as much as the original resolution allowed. The figure's face was still too blurred to make out clearly, but he noticed something he hadn't caught the first time around, a detail in the positioning of the arms, both hands raised slightly, palms facing the camera, less like someone caught mid-stride walking down a hallway, and more like someone standing deliberately still, posed almost directly toward the lens, like they knew exactly where that camera was and wanted to be seen by whoever was watching on the other end. Story 6. Last one tonight comes from a guy named Marcus, And this is the one that actually got investigated afterward, with an actual paper trail, because it happened in a school district that took it seriously enough to look into. Every lockdown announcement in our district gets automatically logged by the phone and PA system, timestamped down to the second, recorded, and saved for exactly this kind of review. Standard safety protocol most people never think about. During our lockdown, the announcement came through at 1:42 p.m. according to the log. Standard voice, standard wording. Everyone in the building went into lockdown procedure exactly as trained. At 1:58 p.m., 16 minutes later, a second announcement came through the PA system. Same voice as the first one, word for word identical wording. This is a lockdown. This is not a drill, repeated exactly. Except the actual district safety log, when administration pulled it afterward, only showed one single announcement log that entire day, timestamped 1:42 p.m., with absolutely no record of any second broadcast at 1:58. Despite hundreds of students and staff across the building independently confirming they heard it play a second time through the actual speakers in their rooms. The district actually brought in an outside technician to review the PA system's internal hardware logs, not just the software log administration normally checked, trying to figure out if there'd been some kind of duplicate signal error in the wiring itself. The technician's report, which our student council actually got access to months later through a public records request out of sheer stubborn curiosity, confirmed the hardware had registered exactly one activation that entire day, matching the software log precisely, one broadcast, one timestamp, no duplicate signal anywhere in the system's own internal memory. Which meant, according to every piece of actual equipment in that building, only one announcement had ever gone out that day. And yet close to 1,000 people, students and staff both, independently remembered hearing it twice, 16 minutes apart, same voice, same exact words, clear as anything through speakers that, according to every log and every technician who examined them, only ever fired once. The student council actually took it further than most people would have bothered to, cross-referencing the exact 16-minute gap against the district's broader incident database going back almost a decade, curious whether anything similar had ever been logged elsewhere in the district under a different circumstance. They found 2 other schools within the same district with a strange note buried in old safety review documents. Unrelated incidents, years apart, each one mentioning in passing that staff had reported hearing a lockdown announcement repeat itself with no corresponding second log entry, treated each time as a minor clerical anomaly and never investigated further. Nobody in the current administration seemed to know those older notes even existed until the student council dug them up. And when they asked the district safety office directly what the 16-minute gap was supposed to mean across all 3 incidents, the response they eventually got back was that the matter was under internal review, with no further update ever issued to anyone who asked. That's it for tonight's stories. If you want more stories backed by actual evidence like these ones, receipts, recordings, photos, logs, let me know in the comments, because those always end up being the ones people can't stop thinking about. Hit subscribe if you want more like this every week, and if you've got your own story with something to back it up, send it in. You might hear it read right here. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.